I first met Coach Hall at a Final Four. I approached him and said hello to him. He didn't know who I was. But I got to know him here at many practices, including the first one, which he and I are going to talk about, where he told me everything's going to be okay when I wasn't so sure.
Coach Hall!
Hey, man, how you doing?
Doing all right?
You got
see
some
you.
work.
Yeah, I said this is, I'm not going in a suit for you. Come on. Come on back.
This is not my team. It's our team. It's his team. And it's his program as much as it is me being the head coach here saying this is our program, my program, it's his program. We're going to cover a lot of stuff, and I'm hoping that you're going to get to know him even more than you think you know.
Legend to Legend is presented by UK Healthcare and sponsored by Bud's Gun Shop, Community Trust Bank, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, and by UK Healthcare.
You and I walk in this gym the first time, the practice visit. You remember?
Yeah.
And we're trying to practice. They got 24 players. They got like 19 walk-ons. We can't make a layup, can't make a jump shot. And I walk in the back, and I'm sitting in the old, the area back there, and I got my hands like this. I'm like, what did I do? I just left. I think we had gone to 3 Elite Eights, a Final Four, national championship game. I had a good team coming back, and I had my hands in my face like, oh my gosh. You remember that?
Yeah.
What'd you say to me?
I've told you that everything would be all right, that you had the best place in the world to coach, you had the best fans, you had #1 facilities, you could recruit to Lexington, it was a great town, and you had a great place to play. And
you remember me with my hands like this when you walked in?
Oh, yeah.
You grabbed me on the shoulder. I'm telling you, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
This is,
I said, you're the basketball capital of the world.
Yeah. There was only one person that I could talk to that would really understand what I was going through. And that person had to have sat in that seat. Because you could be at a distance, you could even be an assistant. But only someone that sits in that seat would have an idea what I have to deal with and what I'm going through. You stepped up and explained it to people so that I had time to create a culture that we were trying to create, which was about developing young people, which was about making it about players first, and it did not take away from league championships, Final Four, it didn't. But people didn't get it, and you helped with that. I mean, how did you figure out and look at this and say, I like what's happening here?
Well, this was an opportunity to put everything you needed together like no other place in the world, with the following, the genuine feeling about Kentucky basketball that was developed through the years. This was a basketball state. The small schools out in the state in Breathitt County, in Lyon County, couldn't afford football teams. The kids couldn't get home after practice. The coach at Breathitt County had a dorm where he kept the kids.
Wow.
And they played basketball. And basketball was a way of life in that little community. So we had here a basketball state behind us.
When we come back, I asked Coach Hall about his early days at UK, following in the footsteps of another legend, Adolph Rupp. And I asked him about growing up in Cynthiana.
Girls like you aren't runners, they said. Well, I wasn't.
Let's go ahead and get some pictures of that knee, okay?
6 months, down the drain. Give up
Keep the rhythm going.
or
Perfect.
get up.
Looks good. Good, we're gonna take it up.
Who's not a runner now? I am proof of the power of advanced medicine.
Got $10? That's all you need for Bud's Gun Shop 10-10-10 deal. That's the range gun of your choice, 10 minutes of range time, and 10 rounds of ammo, all for only $10. And if you like the gun, then we will take $10 off the purchase. So why not experience the Ruger LCP II, the Ruger Mark IV, or the Ruger EC9S, or one of many other firearms here at Bud's Gun Shop and Range. Bud's Gun Shop and Range. Find it here.
Welcome back to Legend, presented by UK Healthcare.
I have a worthy successor. I told him after 42 years, if the basketball program fails at the University of Kentucky, then I have built it on a sand foundation.
How hard was it to follow Coach Rupp?
It was difficult, but I didn't know it. I'd been in a small college setting, played a major college schedule at a tiny school out in Denver. And when I got to Kentucky as Coach Rupp's assistant, I saw both the opportunity and the problem. And the expectations were the biggest problem.
They don't expect us to win much.
4 NCAA championship head coach had, and he brought an exciting style of basketball into this area, or into the basketball world at that time. His fast break and pressure defense was a stimulation to this area. Ashland High School had just won the national championship of high schools. The state was fired up about basketball, and then they had Adolph Rupp come in, and he was an imposing person.
He's big like you.
Yeah, oh no. He was perfect for Kentucky at that time.
How about you, though, following? I don't know of anybody that's followed a coach like him. John Wooden. You can go back, the top guys, and succeeded. They did not succeed. They left. You end up getting to Final Fours, winning a national title. Yeah, the first year probably had to be ridiculously hard because you had to rebuild a little bit, would you say?
Well, I had to take over as the head coach of his players and freshmen. Or back then, you couldn't play freshmen.
I come back to this. There's only few people that could follow the John Wooden, the Coach Rupp. But you made a statement when John Wooden stepped down.
They should have hired me.
They should have hired you. Tell them why you said that.
Because there's no sense ruining two people's lives, having to follow a legend.
I'll follow him. You've already ruined my life. Why?
The traditional legend follower. Following Wooden was no tougher than following Gotrup. Gotrup was everything.
You and I talked. You loved your time here.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like nothing like having an opportunity. Well, being from Cynthiana,
Yeah.
being a player here.
Upper Road?
Yeah, I mean, this was it. You just absolutely loved it.
Absolutely. I've been to Cynthiana many times. I love this town like no other, and like no other person loves it. I don't know all of you all, but I bet I know your family.
How was it being able to go back to Cynthiana, go to the restaurants? Your dad was the police chief?
Sure.
The sheriff. How bad was that for you? You couldn't get in trouble. What happened?
Oh yeah, my dad was my hero. He was a typical.
What was his name?
Charles C. Hall, but everybody called him Bill. He ran for office as C.C. Bill Hall because he grew up in Falmouth, Kentucky.
How long was he sheriff?
He was sheriff 3 terms, which you couldn't do. You had to lay out a year and come back and run again. So he was sheriff, deputy sheriff, and then sheriff. So really 3 terms, but he had to serve that 1 year as a deputy.
Yeah. Did you enjoy growing up in Cynthiana?
Oh,
you know, I saw your picture. I took what's that restaurant I went in?
Bankies.
Yeah, I went in the restaurant, and all of a sudden they have class pictures, and there you were a pretty good-looking guy when you.
Yeah, well, I was.
I looked and I said, "Wait a minute, which one?" There he is, and I sent it to you. I took a picture of it and sent it of your class. They have all the classes. They had some good pie in there too, by the way.
Oh boy, homemade, best, coconut cream. Everybody does it their own way. And if people criticize you or me, it's normal.
Just ahead, Coach Hall gives me some advice on how to handle the UK fans.
Are you sure you should be eating that? You don't look like you have diabetes. You should have taken better care of yourself.
Fruits, berries.
This is me, taking care of myself.
All right.
And I'm stronger than I ever thought I could be. I am proof of the power of advanced medicine.
You're on the move every day. You're mobile, and so is Community Trust Bank. Now, you've got one-touch access to your accounts. No need to remember or update passwords. Make a deposit with a click, not a pen. No deposit slip and no line. And get that morning cup of joe without the hassle, without the wait. Community Trust Bank is dedicated to making your banking experience secure, fast, and easy. Don't wait. Go mobile with Community Trust Bank. Building communities built on trust.
Welcome back to Legend, presented by UK Healthcare.
There's a difference in being selected as a coach or a player. A player does it on his own. And I did it with about 300 young men, about 20 assistant coaches, and a great program at Kentucky.
You know, you were National Coach of the Year in '78. You were a bunch of times. You were SEC Coach of the Year. And again, I can't tell you that I've been blessed there where I've taken jobs. UMass and Jack Lehman. He took me under his wing. So then I get to the NBA, I get fired, unless you didn't know that. But I go back to Memphis, and all of a sudden, Gene Bartow takes me under his wing.
Great guy.
And another and I always wondered why. And then I come here, and all of a sudden, you take me under your wing. I'm telling you, at the jobs that I had, there it is. It was heavy. The jobs that I've had, to be able to do the job, if I didn't have those people, if I didn't have you, would have been hard here. Because they're not so, this is our program. It has nothing, it's the people and the fans, and they want to know, it isn't like when I got this job, everybody was saying we're all in. That's not what happened at these kind of jobs. But if that guy like you would be in my practice, you were in my practice 4 or 5 days a week, watching and talking, and things go wrong, you'd call me, we'd talk back and forth. I still talk to you now. Said, you watch the game? Yeah, I'm not going to tell some of the people what you said, like, this guy, that guy, But
I agree with you most of the time.
Most of the time.
So,
I'm glad you're not back on radio.
So then. I'm not talking to people outside if I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Because everybody does it their own way. And if people criticize you or me, it's normal, because there's so many different ways that you can coach and win. You can be a zone coach, you can be a tough man to man, you can use
pressing,
full court pressure.
You be trapping in the half court.
Or half court, or like San Francisco did, use the 3/4 court press.
The 2-2-1.
You can use.
Slow the game down, speed the game up.
Yeah.
Hold the ball, shoot it quick.
It's how well.
Shoot threes now.
It's how well you do your philosophy is what wins.
But you can't worry about the people in the seats.
You can't worry.
Because you'll be up there with them shortly.
And they would do it different, and you understand that, and they may win with it. But it doesn't mean that your way isn't right, because that's what your decision is at this time with the players you've got. You have to adjust. Everything worked out for me in that respect. Not only did the schedule get tough, we took those early teams out in the countryside and had scrimmages. We let people see the players.
See, they don't let you do that anymore.
Yeah,
so you played in Louisville. You started that, right? You played Notre Dame.
Yeah,
who else did you play
practiced.
there?
We had scrimmages in Benton.
I would do that.
Ashland.
Do you understand? I would love. They won't let you do it anymore.
No.
For this state and these people, for us to go to Pikeville and go in and say we're going to have an inter squad.
Oh, that's what we
sign
did.
autographs. I mean, they don't let us do it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be huge.
Well, we did it, and we packed every gym, and they made money.
For that high school.
Made money.
Yeah.
And they paid us a good portion, and we donated our share to the cancer camp for children. And that was a great thing.
I mean, again, what's the common sense? What's the problem? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, we drew great crowds.
Yeah.
Others who
tried to do it,
and it was a failure.
You know,
they said, don't let Kentucky.
It's an advantage for Kentucky. Here's what I keep coming back to. Even back when you were coaching, There is no level playing field.
No.
And all this stuff about we got to all be the same. We're not all the same. You have schools, Ohio State, that spends $210 million a year in athletics, and you have Sacred Heart, I'm guessing, spends $7-8 million.
That they make from guaranteed.
From guaranteed games. And when you're in the same division, there is no, even within leagues, there are certain schools that have advantages.
Yeah,
You're not
sure.
going to even it out. We have advantages. Here's the disadvantage. I bet you it was the same when you were here. Every game is someone's Super Bowl. Every game that you played on the road was the biggest game of the year for them. Every time you played, there was no, if you let down at all, your kids let down, you lost. Just how it is. That's the disadvantage. The advantage is every arena is sold out. Everywhere you go, you're walking into an arena. They're there to see your team and your coach's coach. It was the same?
Yeah. It was even worse, John.
Because no TV.
Yeah. And the exposure that you got helped your recruiting. So
what made it worse? What made it worse than it is now?
Well, the pressure. The
What do you think? I'm not under pressure? What am I? I'm here happy-go-lucky, enjoying myself.
We had to have a tough schedule.
Oh,
Every
so I don't
year.
have a tough schedule? What are you telling me? You sound like the normal fan.
Well, get a fax book out. My first year, I played Notre Dame, Kansas, Duke, Illinois, Ohio State,
Wow.
Louisville.
So tell me how you and Denny stayed friends, knowing that the fan bases are crazy.
Denny and I were friends before we started playing. Whenever we met at a national event or the NCAA Coaches Association, we always buddied around, went out to dinner together. He loved fishing. I love fishing.
I've heard, I don't know how many people say so-and-so could take a quarter off the top of the backboard. I don't know why they use a quarter. A penny would be just as good. But I've never seen anyone even come close to that feat.
Was he skilled like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
How do you score 30 a game, and how do you do that?
Don't know, but he did.
We talk about national championship and great Kentucky players. That's next when we return.
The day she was born was the day I quit. Years later, that old habit caught up to me.
You've been diagnosed with lung cancer. There's a minimally invasive surgery.
Grandpa,
Oh, hey, Logan.
for good luck.
Caught it at the right time,
The scars are healing very nicely.
and I'm still
How are you
here.
feeling?
I feel great for her. I am proof of the power of advanced medicine.
It may not be their forever home, but it is their first home. It's where they'll begin to build a life together, learn how to tile a kitchen floor, and do all the other grown-up things that come with home ownership, like start a family. We're proud to not just be Kentucky's Farm Bureau, but John and Katie's Making Memories Farm Bureau.
Our Farm Bureau.
Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment.
Welcome back to Legend, presented by UK Healthcare.
You still remember that national championship game?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Who really competed in that game?
Are you talking about the one we won or the one we lost?
Well, I don't talk about the one we lose. I lost one too, so we're not. Did I lose more than one? I've lost two. We ain't talking about. Let's talk about the ones you won. I mean, who played well for you?
The Duke, of course, in the finals. But we had a rough road to get there. And we beat a fine Arkansas team. And then we faced Duke in the final, which was the elite team in the nation. We were number one. I think they were right up there behind us. And it was a great game. We pulled out into what I thought was a comfortable lead.
No, there is no comfortable lead.
We had a 12, 13-point lead at one time.
And who?
And I put all the subs in.
Oh, no.
And that 12, 13-point lead dissolved like sugar and water.
Wow. You went back with the starters?
Went back with the starters for one play. And they were pressing us. And we had an out-of-bounds play that we ran. James Lee ended the game with a classic James Lee dunk.
Wow.
And we wound up winning. We beat the Vegas margin, but it was close.
Who was the best shooter you've coached?
Best shooter? I had a lot of good shooters. Kevin Greavy, Cal Macy, Jay Scheidler.
Where would Louis Dampier stack up with those guys?
Right at the top.
He was that good, huh?
When he shot
it was in.
A 20-foot jump shot, you wrote it down. You counted it.
How good a guy was he? He still is.
He was great.
I mean, he is one of the nicest, most unassuming gentlemen, you know? I mean, and you don't know that this guy was that good as a player.
Oh, man. He was death and taxes.
What about Issel? Was he that good a scorer?
Issel was...
they scored him all different ways, right?
Yeah, but Issel, I don't know how to describe it. He was...
Because he's big.
He was big. He was strong. He was physical. But he had the mental tough.
Was he skilled like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
How do you score 30 a game, and how do you do that?
Don't know, but he did. He could hit the jump shot. He was impossible to stop in low post. He had all those moves.
Well, how did people play him?
Well, they tried to keep the ball away from him, basically. And then they two-time me when he get it.
I was told that they were going to have a Rupp Arena on the University of Kentucky campus. Well, it saved the university about $35–40 million for this building to be down here. And even though the rent may be a little steep at times, you've got to admit you're accommodating people that could never see a basketball game out there on that campus. And we had to have bigger facilities, and it's my understanding that they're sold out for the year. And that, of course, makes me feel very good.
When they moved from Memorial to that big building, were you good with it?
Oh, man, that was like we took over the world.
So you loved it?
I loved it.
You know, most would be afraid of it.
Well,
they would think this is going to be my tomb. You can't fill this up people that have built buildings that big, coaches get fired. Yeah. They get fired because you can't put that many people in it every game. And since your time, you started it. We have led the nation in attendance just about every year.
Well, they had the Memorial Coliseum was sold out every game. And when we doubled The attendance.
That's what I'm saying. What, you weren't scared of that?
Well, I worried a little, but I knew the demand for tickets was large enough to fill it. We started.
Coach, it's 24,000. There's not NBA arenas that are 24,000. Now it's, I think, 21 or 22 because they finally put seats upstairs. That people don't understand that those people, most of them come from East Kentucky, and those seats were the bench. There was not seats. There was bench seating. 13 inches. Because in 1970, 13 inches was about the average butt size.
Yeah,
What's your butt size?
I'm afraid I couldn't.
You wouldn't have fit. So they had to eventually go to these seats. And I think, again, the bones of the building, when they built it, when we redid the locker room, it's on rock. I mean, that building's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And what they've done to it now and what they continue to do to it, you can't do away with Rupp Arena. You just can't. I mean, it's for the next 50 years, whether you got to go in and redo it every 25, 30 years, well, then do that. How much did you practice down there?
Every opportunity we could get.
Okay, I'm different. We never practiced down there.
See,
you didn't have a practice facility, though?
No.
Okay.
And we had to share.
With the women?
The Coliseum.
With the women, with the volleyball?
With concerts, registration, everything.
Okay.
And we were bumped out to church gyms, high school gyms.
Really?
Yeah. So when we got Rupp Arena,
you said, I'm taking it.
We practiced down there every day that it was available.
Wow. And I'm of the one of, it's an extra 35, 40 minutes to our day for the kids. We're practicing here. To be honest, we haven't practiced one day this year, maybe last year. Most years we go down and scrimmage a couple times just because we got all new team, let them see what the building is, the shots and you know. But I haven't done that as of late, but that's interesting. You went down and you scrimmaged down there and played down there.
Yeah.
Up next, Coach Hall and I talk recruiting, something near and dear to his heart and mine. He was a big-time recruiter, but who were some of the big fish that got away?
Yeah, I had him in a summer camp. He was here on campus for, I think, 2 weeks, and he loved it. And he told me he was going to come to Kentucky.
Got $10? That's all you need for Bud's Gun Shop 10-10-10 deal. That's the range gun of your choice, 10 minutes of range time, and 10 rounds of ammo, all for only $10. And if you like the gun, then we will take $10 off the purchase. So why not experience the Ruger LCP-2, the Ruger Mark IV, or the Ruger EC-9S, or one of many other firearms here at Bud's Gun Shop and Range. Bud's Gun Shop and Range. Find it here.
Girls like you aren't runners, they said. Well, I wasn't.
Let's go ahead and get some pictures of that knee, okay?
6 months, down the drain. Give up.
Keep the rhythm going. Perfect.
Or get up.
Looks good. Good, we're gonna take it up.
Who's not a runner now? I am proof of the power of advanced medicine.
Welcome back to Legend, presented by UK Healthcare.
You talk about courage. It's doing what's right, but it's not always popular. Courage. Doing things at the time history would say, boy, he did the right thing. But back then, really hard. You went after African American players. Before, most people at your early career would say, this is dangerous because if I lose, tell me what your thinking was. You looked at this and said, black, white, green, gold doesn't matter to me. I want good players.
I coached first in high school. And the first team I had a African American boy move into our school district that was 6'6" tall, a junior. And I said, boy, there's my basketball team. But I never had a team in my life until I came to Kentucky that I did not have an African American player. I had Lewis Stout, I had James Ray Jones at Regis College. Cozell Walker had played for me at Regis. When I moved to Central Missouri, he moved with me because he was my babysitter and I did his laundry. Then his senior year, I came to Kentucky and I called Cozell. I said, Coz, I hate to go off and leave you. You've been with me 3 years now. And I said, we're a team. And I can get Coach Rupp to give you a scholarship. You'll have to lay out a year, but you can play at this level. He said, Coach, I'm not coming to the South. I don't want to lead that crusade through the South. And he would not.
And you could understand.
Yeah, because there were kids that were threatened.
We were talking, what, the 60s?
Yeah.
So when you became the head coach, push that aside, I'm getting the best players we can get.
All right, I also said he doesn't have to be a superstar. I want a good kid that can help this program. And I didn't care what his skin was.
Do you understand now, though, back then?
Yeah.
Like, you may not think that's a big deal. To me, that's like courage. That's like, I'm going to do what's right, and it's not going to be popular at times, but it's right. I mean, you just went forward like, I'm doing it. You weren't afraid of, well, what would people within the state or within the program or how about within the university?
That was coming at me at an entirely different attitude. Over here, they wanted me to win. Some people wanted me to win with all white players. But it didn't matter to me. Every team I ever had the African American players. And they were good kids. They were some of my best citizens, my hardest workers, my most dedicated. I mean, how can you knock a kid like Jack Given or Kenny Walker or Sam Bush?
Nicest people you'll ever meet.
Nicest men that I've ever met. Most cooperative, hard work, honest, dependable.
Loyal.
Loyal, yes. To a fault.
To a fault. All right, let's do this one. Ralph Sampson.
Ralph Sampson was an exciting player that I almost had.
So tell me, you almost had him.
Yeah, and I had William Turpin calling him on the phone, begging him to come and be a part of this program.
Did you think you had him?
Yeah, I had him in a summer camp. He was here on campus for, I think, 2 weeks, and he loved it. and he told me he was gonna come to Kentucky. And we already had Bowie in Turkey. So to get Sampson, and he was in our summer camp and played with Sam and Melvin in our.
Did you have a chance at Moses Malone?
I had a chance with him. Went to visit Moses.
I bet you when you walked in the gym, everybody went, "Oh, Kentucky's in now."
Oh,
Did they do that back then?
I went to a state championship game, and they called all the college coaches that were there recruiting to come down on the floor at halftime and have a picture taken. And there were like 30 of us. He came to me and said, "Coach, I want a picture with you." I thought for sure I had it.
Well, you lost him to the NBA.
Yeah.
You didn't lose him to another school. Yeah. What about Daryl Dawkins?
Daryl Dawkins told me he was coming, and Daryl was a most exciting player. He was one of the most colorful, fun-living, good guys. He would have fit in beautiful with our program.
Again, big and strong.
He was awesome.
Athletic.
Yeah.
You know, I've lost Stoudemire, Damon,
yeah.
Perkins. So a couple guys that I thought we were getting that were coming and then went pro. And we may be going back to this.
Willoughby, Bill Willoughby.
It's another one.
I lost him. I had him signed.
So that now that kids, I think within the next 2 or 3 years are going to be able to go directly to the NBA. It's what you went through now.
Yeah, you lose.
I'm going to be like, okay, how do we do this?
Yeah.
I haven't figured it out yet, but
I can't argue.
If you want to go,
$1 million,
you want to go, and they're going to take you as a lottery pick out of high school. I get it, but now it's like, okay, where do you do this? Do you not go after a kid or two and wait a minute, and then they go to college? Do you go after too many kids, and they all go pro?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have to deal with that. I mean, how did you deal with it? What did you?
Well, I lost kids that I worked hard on, spent the majority of my time recruiting.
How about the guys that have stayed here multiple years? They've done well.
Yeah.
PJ,
yeah.
Washington goes in that league. You have got, we've had some guys leave after a year. Some of them no one could believe. Hero, Shea Alexander, Eric Bledsoe. I can go on. Guys that I can't believe he only stayed 1 year, but they did right and they were prepared. But we've had others. How about Ashton Emmanuel for this year? How about Nick Richards? Nick Richards is up for Player of the Year. He stayed 3 years. My problem is everybody gets to try to push these kids to a different time frame than they need. Wildcat Lodge was the first of its kind in the country, and Coach Hall was the man behind it. He talks about that and the new lodge right after this.
You're on the move every day. You're mobile, and so is Community Trust Bank. Now, you've got one-touch access to your accounts. No need to remember or update passwords. Make a deposit with a click, not a pen. No deposit slip and no line. And get that morning cup of joe without the hassle, without the wait. Community Trust Bank is dedicated to making your banking experience secure, fast, and easy. Don't wait. Go mobile with Community Trust Bank. Building communities built on trust.
Are you sure you should be eating that? You don't look like you have diabetes. You should have taken better care of yourself.
Your fruits, berries.
This is me, taking care of myself.
All right.
And I'm stronger than I ever thought I could be. I am proof of the power of advanced medicine.
Welcome back to Legend, presented by UK Healthcare.
You guys were the first that started the lodge, and people across the country got mad. Like, you had single rooms with a bath, and all of a sudden people came in and said, you can't do this. You know, you got to have two in a room. Am I right?
Yeah.
And you got, it was basically, you got the coal people together and said, we got to have housing here that kind of protects these kids, kind of separate them, because it's different here at Kentucky.
Well, kids are like rock stars.
Yeah.
Here in Kentucky. When a dorm mate has a friend from home come in for the weekend, I mean, he's going to want to meet Kenny Walker or Cal Macy. And so here's somebody knocking on your door.
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning on the weekend when you got a ball game, and they want to introduce their friend.
I mean, and it's, people don't understand it. Yeah. I say to coach here, if I didn't have the lodge, I'm not sure I could do this job.
Yeah.
One, how would you keep a finger on things? How about this? How do you protect them? You even went as far as to have a nurse in the place. Well, how did you do that? What did you?
Well, we had a live-in apartment for a house mother or a family. And I had expressed that we were looking for someone ideal. Our team doctor was Dr. V.A. Jackson, and his wife was a nurse, and Ms. Jackson came to me one day and said, who's going to be your house family? I said, well, we haven't decided yet. She said, Dr. Jackson and I want to be the house family.
Wow.
I said, you are kidding. She said, no, Murray Jackson. And I said, well, I couldn't imagine anything better than for the parents of these kids being away from home, living in a facility as nice as Wildcat Lodge, and having a doctor and a nurse.
And no one else in the country had it.
No. I don't know how to explain the feeling of seeing yourself there. He's going to last longer than I am. That's a strange feeling.
I wanted to have a sense of anticipation. You know, he's looking out on the court and something good's about to happen. So I wanted him really to be on the edge of his seat, waiting for, something great to happen.
When it started getting older, and I knew we were going to have to build a new one, and I went to you and said, Coach, we're going to have to tear it down, and we got to build another one. Tell them what your comment to me was.
I said, it's yours. Do what you want to with it.
And you said, I can't believe it's still there today.
Yeah.
It was supposed to last, what'd you say, 20 years?
And it lasted 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we built a new one, and if anybody comes on campus, the greatest thing about that facility is having your statue out front, life-size, on a bench with the rolled-up program the way you used to do it. And you know what my job is in the morning.
Clean the head.
I got to clean the little bird poop off the shoulders and the head.
I want a picture of that. I want a movie of that.
All right, let me ask you, do you bring no one's listening, but do you bring anybody over there? You got to see this statue?
Oh, yeah. My grandkids.
Do you really?
My great-grandkids.
Isn't that the greatest?
Sit there with me.
Oh, that's great. You take pictures with it then?
Oh, yeah.
That is the greatest. When we come back, we wrap up our conversation. I ask Coach Hall about his legacy and his message to the Big Blue Nation.
It may not be their forever home, but it is their first home. It's where they'll begin to build a life together, learn how to tile a kitchen floor, and do all the other grown-up things that come with home ownership, like start a family. We're proud to not just be Kentucky's Farm Bureau, but John and Katie's Making Memories Farm Bureau.
Our Farm Bureau.
Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment.
The day she was born was the day I quit. Years later, that old habit caught up to me.
You've been diagnosed with lung cancer. There's a minimally invasive surgery.
Grandpa,
Oh, hey, Vulcan.
for good luck.
Caught it at the right time,
The scars are healing very nicely.
and I'm still
How are you
here.
feeling?
I feel great. For her, I am proof of the power of advanced medicine.
Welcome back to Legend, presented by UK Healthcare.
This season has been a very rewarding one in that the players have exceeded what was expected of them. It's been exciting to watch this team develop. The satisfaction that I've experienced makes it a little easier to say this, that this was my last game as head basketball coach at the University of Kentucky. And it's a little bit ironic that it happened here in Denver where I began college coaching, Kaywood, at Regis College.
Anything you change about coaching here? That when you were here 13, 14 years? 13 years?
20.
20, but you were there as an assistant and all that stuff. Tell me, anything you'd change?
Well, I would have had a practice facility.
You would have had the first day, because no one had them back then.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in here and say, this guy practices when he wants.
No, I didn't ask for a practice facility because Memorial Coliseum was a great practice facility.
Yeah, it's big. It's wide. It's, you know,
If,
bigger than this space that I have.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, and it's handy.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to the Big Blue Nation?
Oh God, I've said everything to the Big Blue Nation. They know how I feel. I was into the nation when I was knee high to a short pony. And my brother and I followed the Cats when we were pre-teens. And to come to Kentucky, and I never had a chance to see them live, but I'd come to state tournament, and the players sometimes were guards at the doors because they didn't have air conditioning. But they'd have to open the door on a hot spring day for the state tournament. So the players would stand at the door so nobody'd come in. And I'd go stand by one of the players and look up
Look in there?
and just kind of be around, never talk to them. But I became a great fan of Kentucky football and basketball. I ushered as a Boy Scout at football games. And then when I had...
You remember when Coach Bryant coached here?
Oh, yeah, he was coaching when I played here.
Really?
I played so little and was so insignificant on the team that people won't even remember. I have to get pictures and show me
I'm the same. Don't
sitting
worry.
on the bench.
Two of us sitting here.
But I never scored a point for the University of Kentucky. But being at Kentucky and being around those guys just burned into me, Kentucky basketball.
Your legacy here, what do you think it should be?
That Joe Hall came up here from Cynthiana, took over this program, and kept it where it should be. And that's all I want to do. If they can say I did well and kept Kentucky where it should be. And it should be on top. I told you that when you called me. I said, Cal, this is the greatest job in the world because you can win here.
And you can recruit here. And
You can recruit
good kids here.
You can keep them good.
Your legacy, me looking at it, was to maintain and grow the program and grow people's minds mentally, which you did. You were a terrific coach. You ready for this? And a good man.
Well,
and I thank you. And I thank you for your friendship and your mentoring of me.
Well, I thank you for letting me be close to the program. Is all I want to be. I don't want to interfere or
Never
second guess.
Other than trying to get me to play the 1-3-1.
No,
you've been
no,
great.
I don't care. You know that. You kid me about that. But
you can put it in a day.
Yes, you can. I put it in on foreign trips. I'd take a team every.
People forget all that. We didn't even get into it, but you coached over in China. You've coached everywhere.
Well, I coached the American women's team and taught them a 1-3-1. And they won the World University tournament against Russia and Yugoslavia using the 1-3-1 zone.
I got to use it. Coach, you know I love you. I appreciate this. You know you're always welcome in this program.
Well, thank you.
And if you want that seat back, I'm good. Take it back. You can run with it.
Okay, I'd like to have it for 1 year.
You can't have the money.
No,
you can have
I'd love to have one year.
I know what you're talking about.
1
You might
year
give me
is
that
all
money.
I love it. You're the best, John.
Legend to Legend was presented by UK Healthcare and sponsored by Bud's Gun Shop, Community Trust Bank, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, and by UK Healthcare.